I mentioned my promotion in a meeting with Australian colleagues and the room went silent. Thought I'd said something offensive. Turns out I had, talking about my own success. Meanwhile, my American boss puts every achievement on LinkedIn before the ink dries. Same accomplishment, completely opposite rules about whether you can brag.
Right, so let's talk about something that makes everyone uncomfortable. Talking about yourself.
Oh, great. My favorite topic. How to exist without making everyone hate you. Spoiler, it's impossible.
Depends entirely on your passport, apparently.
Right, because nothing says healthy global communication like the same behavior getting you promoted in New York and socially exiled in Sydney. Makes perfect sense.
Tell me about this Australian meeting. What happened exactly?
Okay, so I just gotten promoted to senior manager. Big deal for me. Worked really hard for it. We're in a video call with the Sydney office talking about team structure.
Normal meeting.
I mentioned that I'd be leading the new initiative since I'd just been promoted. Just stating a fact, right? Suddenly, everyone on the Australian side goes quiet. Awkward silence. Then someone changes the subject.
Oh, that's uncomfortable.
I genuinely thought I'd accidentally insulted someone. After the call, one of my British colleagues pulled me aside and explained that in Australian culture, you don't big note yourself.
Big note yourself.
Aussie term for self-promotion. It's the tall poppy syndrome. If you stick your head up too high, someone will cut you down. You're supposed to be humble, self-deprecating. Let others praise you. Never praise yourself.
So by mentioning your promotion...
I was basically announcing, I'm better than all of you, when I just meant, this is my new job title.
Classic miscommunication. How were you supposed to frame it?
Maybe something like, the team decided to shift some responsibilities my way, or I've been asked to take on this project. Make it sound like it happened to you, not something you actually earned through competence.
The passive achievement.
Exactly. Remove all agency from your own success. That's definitely a healthy way to function.
That must feel strange for Americans, though.
Oh, Americans would rather die than downplay an achievement. I worked hard and earned this is basically our national anthem after the actual national anthem.
Quick pause before we dive deeper. Huge thanks for all the topic suggestions.
You've been brilliant. Keep them coming.
What cultural mystery should we explore next?
Drop it in the comments and we'll decode it without bragging about how good we are at this. See? British self-deprecation.
Yeah, super effective. Nothing says confidence like apologizing for existing.
So let's talk about American culture. You said self-promotion is expected?
Oh, it's not just expected. It's mandatory. LinkedIn is basically a bragging competition disguised as professional networking.
Thrilled to announce every other day.
Thrilled to announce I successfully completed basic job functions. Humbled and honored to have shown up to work. It's professional gaslighting at this point.
Very American phrase, personal branding.
Oh yeah, because what we all needed was to commodify our entire personalities for career advancement. That's totally normal and not dystopian at all.
So modesty equals invisibility.
Pretty much. In American work culture, if you don't promote yourself, no one will notice your achievements. And then you'll get passed over for promotions while louder, less competent people succeed. It's a great system. Whereas in British culture...
If you're really that good, you don't need to say so. Others will notice.
Will they, though?
In theory?
The British hope!
What about job interviews? That must be where this really shows up.
Oh, interviews are where cultural differences go to create mutual horror.
Tell me.
Americans are taught to sell yourself. You walk into an interview and talk about how great you are. I'm an excellent leader, I'm highly skilled, I drive results. Direct, confident, borderline arrogant by other standards.
Very American.
We're basically trained to be delusional about our own competence. Fake it till you make it. but make it your entire personality.
British people in American interviews often get feedback that they seem unsure or lack confidence because we're trained to be modest.
What does a British person say in an interview?
Well, I suppose I'm reasonably competent at project management. I've had some success, though there's always room for improvement. I managed to achieve most of the targets, though certainly not perfect.
Oh, wow, yeah, that sounds like someone desperately hoping a job offer appears if they apologize enough for existing. Very compelling.
It's humble.
It's underselling.
What about the reverse? Americans in British interviews.
They come across as cocky. I'm the best at this. I'm amazing at that. British interviewers think, who does this person think they are?
So both sides are doing what they were taught.
And both sides are getting it wrong for the other culture.
I had a Japanese colleague who struggled with this so much.
Tell me.
Hiroshi was brilliant at his job, genuinely one of the best engineers I've worked with. But in performance reviews, he'd always credit the team. We accomplished this together. The team did well. I was fortunate to contribute.
Collective achievement.
Exactly. And in Japanese culture, that's the right way to talk about success. You never single yourself out. It's arrogant and breaks group harmony.
What happened?
American management kept telling him he needed to own his accomplishments and advocate for himself. They genuinely thought he lacked confidence or wasn't doing much because he kept deflecting credit.
But he was just being culturally appropriate for Japan.
Right, and he was so uncomfortable with the American style. He told me once, they want me to brag, but bragging is shameful. But sure, let's make him violate his cultural values for career advancement. That's fine.
That's a real bind. Classic corporate America. Be yourself. Unless yourself is culturally modest, then be someone else or stay invisible.
He eventually learned to say things like, I contributed to this team's success by, which was his compromise. Still giving team credit, but mentioning his role.
That's actually smart. Finding the middle ground.
But it shouldn't have to be a compromise. His original way of discussing achievement was valid.
What about Scandinavian cultures? I've heard they're similar to Australia with the tall poppy thing.
Oh yes, Janteloven in Norway and Denmark.
Jante what?
Janteloven. It's this cultural code that basically says, don't think you're special. There are literally 10 rules about not thinking you're better than others, not thinking you're smarter, not thinking you know more.
That's codified?
Culturally, yes. It's deeply ingrained. In Scandinavian cultures, standing out individually is almost socially forbidden. You're part of the collective.
So how do they handle workplace promotions or achievements?
Very quietly. Someone might mention casually, weeks later, oh, by the way, I changed roles. No announcement, no celebration, just a quiet acknowledgement.
Whereas Americans would post on LinkedIn, tell everyone, throw a party, update their email signature within 30 seconds, and probably get a cake. Thrilled to announce my new role. Grateful for this opportunity. Excited for the journey ahead.
3 exclamation points minimum. Otherwise, people might think you're not excited enough about your own success.
It's the American way.
What about Middle Eastern cultures? Where do they fall on this?
That's interesting because there's a gender divide that's really pronounced.
How so?
In many Middle Eastern cultures, men are expected to be confident, even boastful about achievements. It's masculinity. I accomplished this, I'm successful, I'm powerful.
Asserting status.
But women are expected to be modest, humble, deflect accomplishments. A woman bragging would be seen as very inappropriate, unfeminine.
So the same behavior is confident if you're male, arrogant if you're female. Shocking. Do you think that's unique to Middle Eastern culture or a worldwide problem?
Unfortunately, it's especially pronounced there. Though I should say this varies by country and is changing in some places, but traditionally, huge double standard.
Do American women face some of that too?
Oh yeah, studies show women get penalized for self-promotion in ways men don't, called aggressive or unlikable for the same behavior that makes men seem confident. But sure, we've totally solved sexism. Great job, everyone.
So even in supposedly egalitarian American culture, bragging rules aren't actually equal.
No, they're really not.
What about Latin American cultures? How do they handle achievement talk?
I think there's a warmth to it that's different from American directness.
How so?
Like in Mexican or Colombian culture, you might share success, but frame it with gratitude and relationship acknowledgement. Thanks to my family's support, I was able to achieve this. God blessed me with this opportunity.
So success isn't individual, it's communal or spiritual.
Right! You're not the sole author of your success. You had help. You had blessings. You had support. Acknowledging that is important.
That's actually really beautiful.
It is! And it allows you to share good news without seeming self-centered. The success is distributed.
How does that compare to American achievement narratives?
Americans love the self-made story. I pulled myself up by my bootstraps. I worked hard and earned this through my own merit. Very individualistic, very, I did this alone. Very convenient for ignoring systemic advantages.
The American dream.
Right. That narrative ignores family, community, luck, privilege, generational wealth, social capital. But sure, you did it all yourself. Very realistic.
Which can come across as arrogant in collectivist cultures.
Because you're implicitly saying, I did this alone, I'm special, rather than, we did this together, I'm grateful.
What about China? I feel like Chinese business culture has its own thing going on.
Chinese achievement culture is so complex.
Tell me.
There's this tension between individual achievement and collective harmony. Like, academic and professional success is hugely important in Chinese culture. Parents push kids hard. Competition is intense.
Tiger parenting.
Right. But at the same time, you're not supposed to brag directly about your achievements. That's rude. So there's this whole system of humble bragging and letting others praise you.
Humble bragging is universal.
Apparently. But Chinese humble bragging has its own style. Like, parents will brag about their kids, but the kid has to demur. Oh, they're not that special. It's this elaborate dance where everyone knows you're amazing, but you have to pretend you're not.
The ritual modesty.
And in professional settings, you might share an achievement, but immediately follow it with how much more you need to learn, how others helped you, how you were lucky.
What happens if you don't do that deflection?
People think you're arrogant and lacking character. Face is really important in Chinese culture, and bragging threatens face.
But presumably, people still want recognition for their work.
Of course! It just has to come through the right channels. Your boss mentions it, your colleague brings it up, your achievement gets acknowledged by others. You don't have to toot your own horn.
That requires other people to notice and speak up, though.
Which is why relationship building is so important in Chinese work culture. If people like you and respect you, they'll advocate for you. Whereas American culture says, don't wait for others. Advocate for yourself because no one else will. And also, everyone's too busy promoting themselves to notice you anyway.
Two completely different strategies for advancement.
What about Germany? They're direct about everything else.
Germans are interesting because they are direct, but they're also very anti-bragging.
Really?
Yes, German culture values competence and achievement, but you're supposed to let your work speak for itself. Bragging is seen as insecure.
So like British culture?
Similar, but more matter of fact. British people deflect with self-deprecation. Germans just state facts without embellishment. I completed the project on time and under budget. Not, I did an amazing job. Just facts. Understated competence.
Right. And if you overpraise yourself, Germans must think you're compensating for lack of actual skill. Truly competent people don't need to brag.
Must drive Americans crazy.
The clash is real. Americans think Germans are cold and unambitious. Germans think Americans are superficial and insecure. How do you actually navigate this in practice? Like, if you're working internationally?
I think you have to code switch based on your audience. Read the room.
If you're in an American context, you need to self-promote more than feels natural. Share your wins. Talk about your contributions. Don't wait for recognition.
If you're in Australian or Scandinavian context, dial it way back. Let others bring up your achievements. Focus on team success.
If you're in a collectivist culture like Japan or China, always credit the group and acknowledge support.
What if you're in a diverse team with mixed cultural expectations?
Then it's impossible. You've got some people waiting for you to prove yourself through self-promotion. Others judging you for doing exactly that. Can't win.
No-win situation.
Kind of. I think the key is being explicit about it. Like in performance review time, explain. I know this might sound like bragging, but I want to make sure my contributions are visible. Acknowledge the awkwardness.
Showing you're aware it's uncomfortable but necessary in this context.
Right. Most people appreciate that honesty. I hate doing this, but the system requires it, resonates across cultures.
What about LinkedIn? That's become this global platform for professional bragging.
LinkedIn is wild from a cross-cultural perspective.
How so?
Americans dominate the platform culture, right? So the norm is constant self-promotion. Excited to announce, humbled and honored, proud to share.
Every day.
Thrilled to announce I had a meeting. Honored and humbled to have sent an email successfully. It's like everyone's having a personal PR crisis, but pretending it's normal networking.
But people from humble bragging cultures are on there too, and they're so uncomfortable. I've seen Japanese colleagues post the bare minimum. I change companies. That's the whole post.
No 3 paragraphs about the journey. No thrilled to announce. No grateful for the opportunity. Just facts. Which to Americans reads as unengaged or not excited.
So even on a global platform, American norms dominate.
Pretty much. And that puts non-Americans at a disadvantage because they're not playing the visibility game the same way. The platform rewards American-style self-promotion, which means people from modest cultures either have to violate their cultural norms or stay invisible.
That's actually kind of unfair.
It's wildly unfair. But sure, let's keep pretending the system rewards merit and not just whoever's loudest. That's working great for everyone.
And staying invisible means fewer opportunities.
Exactly. So they have to choose. Be uncomfortable and brag, or be authentic and overlooked.
Has anyone tried to change LinkedIn culture?
Good luck! Americans are not going to stop posting about every minor achievement. It's our whole thing.
Thrilled to announce I successfully completed a meeting.
Honored and humbled to have sent an email.
That's not far off. What's your actual advice for people struggling with this?
I think it depends on what you're optimizing for. Career advancement, authenticity, comfort. Those might all require different approaches. If you're in a culture that rewards self-promotion and you want to advance, you probably need to stretch beyond your comfort zone. Practice talking about your achievements, even if it feels gross.
If you're in a humble culture and trying to fit in, dial back the achievement talk. Let others bring it up. Focus on team success.
But also recognize that sometimes the system is unfair. You shouldn't have to violate your cultural values to get recognition for good work. But you probably will anyway.
Though sometimes you do.
Unfortunately, yes. Welcome to global capitalism, where your cultural authenticity is less important than market-dominant communication norms.
I think the other piece is finding people who will advocate for you. If you're uncomfortable self-promoting, having a mentor or colleague who will speak up about your work is crucial.
Right. In cultures where bragging is inappropriate, behind-the-scenes advocacy is how people advance.
So build those relationships. Make sure decision makers know what you're contributing, even if you're not shouting it from the rooftops. Any final wisdom on the bragging boundary?
Remember that how people talk about success reveals what they value. Americans value individual achievement and confidence. Japanese value collective harmony. Australians value equality and humility.
Right. Nobody's wrong, They're just optimizing for different cultural priorities. Though it sure feels wrong when you violate someone else's norms.
Every single time. But hey, at least we're all equally confused and uncomfortable in different ways. That's something. Thanks for joining us on the Etiquette Enigma. Remember, bragging isn't universally bad, and modesty isn't universally good. It all depends on the culture. So before you post that LinkedIn announcement, maybe consider who's reading it and whether they'll think you're confident or insufferable.
Though honestly, someone will judge you either way, so you might as well do what feels authentic.
Can't win! But seriously, find your comfort zone between authentic modesty and necessary self-advocacy. And give others grace when they're navigating this differently than you. We're all just trying to get recognition for good work without seeming like assholes.
Which is impossible, but we keep trying. See you next episode.
Where we'll humbly announce that we're thrilled and honored to bring you more cultural chaos.
Very LinkedIn of us.